CVA Optima. Muzzleloader season is getting ready to start here in Indiana, 2025, and a friend of mine brought me this CVA because they told me that they were having an issue with having a slug stuck halfway down the barrel. So I was like, bring it over, I'll see what I can do with it, and we'll see if we can get that thing knocked out. He tried to get it out. He took the breech plug out, removed the powder charge from the back, and then put the ramrod in from the back and tried pushing the bullet back out the barrel, but it wouldn't move. And with much pushing, and I don't know if there's prying involved, but the ramrod seems to be a little bent, and as you can see, it's in there pretty good. So the extension, I think, has actually got itself wedged into the lead of the bullet, because if you give this a little twist and a little tweak, you can get it to spin. And it'll spin out so far, and you can pull it back. You can feel that extension moving back and forth. And then you can keep turning it and get to the back of that extension, but it still doesn't want to really go anywhere. So my thoughts are this. I'm going to mark the scope where the scope meets the mounts. That way I can get his eye relief back to where it was. And then I want to mark it here at the 3 o'clock position, and that way it's properly clocked so that the reticles, level again. And I will check that in a vise with a couple different levels when I'm done, in any case, even if I do have the marks lined up. But I'm going to go ahead and mark that, and then it takes this Torx bit on these rings to get them loose. After I get the scope off, I'm going to go ahead and take the forend off, take the bipod off, and then this forearm piece just comes off, and the barrel should separate from the rear end of the weapon here. So I'll get a little more light on the subject so I can see what I'm doing. Let's see if I can break this scope ring loose without breaking it. Oh, that was actually way looser than I think it should have been. Yeah, I didn't put anything on that. These don't appear to have been Loctited or anything of the nature. So yeah, we'll make sure that those are tightened properly when we put it back together. So I'll go ahead and get this loosened up, and I'll do a little cut and come back to you when I get ready to take this foregrip off. I just took the scope off of it. The rings were fairly loose. I went ahead and clocked the scope so we know where horizontal's at, and I indexed it so we can get everything back to where it was when it was sighted in for him. And anyway, there's the scope. Rings and the screws are in my little container there, and I'm going to go ahead and take the base of the scope rings off, and that again was not very snug. So it's probably good that we're going through this. It's probably good that this happened to him, and maybe he won't have an issue with the scope shifting around on him. I mean, not that these muzzleloaders hit all that hard. He shoots 100 grains of powder and a 240 grain sabot in this 50 cal. It's a little awkward trying to do it with the breech half open here and the ramrod in the way. I think I'll go ahead and just take that foregrip off and take the bipod off of it. Looks like a nice little Harris bipod on there. We'll just take this and jam it down. No, we're not going to jam it down as hard. I think what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of that fancy orange tape down there, and I'll tape the end of the barrel off after, put a little bit of war butter on it. What biscuit is any good without war butter, you know what I mean? on that toast right there. I think you're eating Preparation H roll. These things smell like Preparation H. You ever notice that? You get your neck hurting a little bit, just wipe a little bit back there. Loosens you right up. Alright, so. Now where did I put that? That's what you gotta ask yourself sometimes. You get these cleaning jags, and they like to hide. And see, I got this one here. It's got the little bronze brush and cotton swab. That's not what I want. Let me go check the possibles bag. I'll be back. Alright, well, we're back at it here. I taped off the end of the barrel after running some boar butter down that end of it, so that way if we can push it out, maybe it'll slide a little bit smoother. And we'll see what we can do on this end of it. My thought is turn that all the way in, and then I've got this ball starter or sabot starter, what have you. If I unscrew this little coupling portion of it, I can screw it into the back of this ramrod. So perhaps I can get a little more real estate pulling on it. Give it the old twister-ing here for a little bit. Alright, so I got the ramrod back. That's a plus. It's got a cleaning jag built into the end of it here. Alright. So, I'm thinking Arby's. You know, if it wasn't so expensive. You know, Arby's has really gotten pricey, hasn't it? What happened to the $5 roast beefs? You know what I mean? 5 for $5. Yeah, I guess I'm old. Anyway, ramrod's definitely got a little lean to it. But I think, should I go from the barrel end and try to push it towards the breech? Or should I go from the breech and try to push it out the end of the barrel? I mean, when it leaves with propellant behind it, it's supposed to be going that way, so yeah, the thing is, I don't know the status of the plastic sabot jacket trays and the slug, you know what I mean? Like if the slug's pushed way down in there and the pedals are spread out and they're engaged in that rifling, you know, yeah, don't make it easy. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's put it back in here, because that didn't work before, so we'll do that again. And we'll get out the love tap machine, and we'll give it a couple little love taps. Now this is plastic, so I'm going to make sure I hit it really hard. Okay. Not as much as love as I want to give that. Yeah, that was enough to get it wedged in there again, but it did come back loose. So a feller or a fellette has got to wonder, somebody's been watching a little bit too much Vice Grip Garage. And I'd put just a little bit of silicone spray down in the end of this. And now that I got the ramrod back, and I have a way to run a swab down it a little bit better, I don't have to steal my ramrod out of my muzzleloader. Because why bend two? And I don't have a nice long brass rod. So that's all the further we get. That's it right there. If I can get that nice and slippery like. Ooh, gotta love that sound. Reminds me of the old honeymoon days. I'll tell my wife about that one. Alright, so we got that end all looped up. Boy, there's a lot of Feels like a lot of fouling in this barrel, you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely a lot of fouling. Especially right there about midway. Feels like that fouling just stops you right up. I got an idea. We'll throw a little bit of X-Lax down the barrel. That's bound to clear the plug. I feel like this is going to turn into some kind of Ernest P. Worrell show. Except he ain't with us no more, folks. No, sir? Well, that's what I got out so far. Alright, so I've added a little bit more silicone to the back end here. The front end is actually fairly shiny, but this end back here where all the combustion happens has got a little more pitting and fouling in that section of the barrel. And I think that's where that slug got hung up at. Now when I look down the barrel end of it, I can see that yellow polymer tip on that slug, on that sabot, as they say. So I'm hoping with lubing this up more, see I couldn't drive it forward. And I didn't want to give it too much because I didn't want to finish destroying the ramrod for him. It's still functional as it is now. But I think it's been about 10 minutes that I let that soak in there. And we'll see if we can give it some love taparoonies without damaging this here end. And see if we can drive it out the back. Oh, we got movement. X-Lax is working. There she blows. Aye, there she blows. Oh, would you look at that? Just look at it, folks. There it is, in all of its glory. Our little plastic sabotry. And the back end just had enough fouling on it that it looked like metal looking, you know, up its, yeah, the back end there. And slug's still in good shape, really. I say we load her back up and shoot her. No, I'm going to clean her up good here. I got the boar snake. I got some boar butter. I got some lemon pepper. We're going to season her up good. Anywho's, and anyhow. Yeah, let me clean this baby up good. Well, we'll put her back together then, huh? Alright. You talked me into it. Let's see. This goes on the back. Nope, that goes on the front. Alright. I always got that part wrong. No wonder it hurts the shoulder so bad when I squeeze the trigger. Bullet's going the wrong direction. Now it seems like something's missing. Oh yeah, foregrip. We might want that. By golly, look at that. Isn't that just prettier than Greg Maddox's pitching? Look at that baby right there. And then, oh my goodness, somebody was smart enough to make me put these in a little container so I didn't lose them all over the place. Not that I've ever done that, right? Let's see if I can't mar up this fore end with this screwdriver and it slips off. That or punch it right through into my finger. That's how they usually go, right? Oh baby, oh mommy, look at that. That's perfect. Alright, then, you know what would be easier? If I was to put this in my gun vise. That'd make too much sense, wouldn't it? Alright, I'll go get it. You talked me into that too. You're just persuasive today. Okay, so here we are. Looking at the CVA Optima here. And let me turn this light off. If you can see it here, but I have the gun in my shooting vise. I've got the barrel leveled in that plane, and then I'm up here on the rings and I got it leveled in that plane as well. And then I also checked the ring mounts so that they are level with the barrel, so no tweaks or twists or that sort of thing. So I didn't have any Loctite, so I used the next best thing. Thank you to my wife. A little bit of clear fingernail polish. So I'll go ahead and get this scope mount put back on and get the scope tightened up, and we'll come back at you. So it's time for fitting the scope back on. And as you noticed before, I had marked, you can see it there because it's pretty faint, but I made my little clocking marks, and you can see where the rings were lined up pretty well, so the eye relief shouldn't be an issue when I put it back on. Get that out of the way. Should be pretty close there. We'll check with levels and stuff just for the fun of it. Alright. I will get the breech plug put back in it, and then tomorrow we'll take it out and send a couple rounds downrange. We'll see how it does. Here we are out in the frozen tundra. About 14 degrees out right now. I'm gonna try to sight in this muzzleloader that I was working on the other night. Just got a little bit of light left, so I'm gonna try to get her loaded up and get one sent downrange there. Freaking freezing out here, Mr. Bigglesworth. Because that last round that dude loaded up, it got stuck in the barrel, I'm going to put just a little bit of boar butter on the outside of that sabot. Because I don't want to have to fight that stuff. I honestly don't care for the action of these. I like having my breech all the way open, like on my Remington Genesis, when I'm loading around, because I know the air can escape good. So far that slid in nice. I'd say that's all the way seated. Alrighty, we'll get her dialed in here on the vise and get a shot off. Let me get my ears. Fire in the hole. It's extremely smoky, but that has to be the lightest recoiling muzzleloader I've ever shot. There was no recoil there hardly at all. Let me go down range and see what we did. This is my little 1.5 inch by 1 inch square. I was aiming for here and I hit right there that hole's at. So I'm just about an inch left, and up and down I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to dial her over a few clicks, point of impact right, and swab the barrel and blow out the breech plug a little bit and give it one more and see what we do. Alright, we're back at the target now, and I made my second shot. I loaded her up quick, didn't take time filming, of course. You've seen a muzzleloader loaded before. My first shot was here. I dialed 20 clicks right at 25 yards, and it put me on that corner. So I'm going to come back 10 clicks, and that's where I'm hoping to be at 25 yards. So, yeah, it's getting too dark to continue tonight. So I'll make an adjustment. I'll clean the gun up really good, and then if I've got time after work tomorrow, I'll crack another one off. Otherwise, it'll be a couple days trying to get back out here to the range. We'll catch up with you later. Hope you enjoyed this one. And we'll catch you next time out here in God's beautiful creation. We'll see you in the woods or on the water. Take care.